Gary Ivey, and welcome to my channel. This is the very first video that I'm doing, and wanted to just get started with talking about the books that I'm writing, all about Old Testament stories, specifically from the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel and 1st Kings. The first two books are finished. Quest for a King is the first one, and Exile of the King is the second one in the Age of the Kingdom series. That's what I'm calling it because during the time of King Saul, King David, and King Solomon, the kingdom of Israel was united. So it's the Age of the Kingdom. King Saul was the first king, King David the second, King Solomon the third. Each of them served for about 40 years, and that was the time when they were all united. After Solomon, things broke apart, and they became two different countries, the Kingdom of Judah and the Kingdom of Israel. On this channel, I want to talk about a lot of things having to do with these topics. I'm going to talk about a lot of the Old Testament things. I'm going to talk about the problems that are involved with writing fiction based on stories that are 3,000 years old. And I'm going to talk about the process of writing, of developing characters, and of publishing and designing covers and all of that kind of thing. And I will be updating you on things that I'm doing as far as the future books. I'm in the process of writing book 3 right now, which is going to be titled The Eternal Kingdom. And it will be against the backdrop of the first half of King David's reign. Just to give you a taste, I'm going to read just a little bit to you from the first book, Quest for a King. It begins before King Saul is crowned, and that's why there's a quest for a king, but it's also during the time of the rise of David. And if you know the Bible story, you know that Saul was crowned king, and then because of his failures, the prophet Samuel found and anointed David to be king after Saul. So the books that I'm writing are fiction because they are centered around fictional characters against the backdrop of the Bible stories that we all know. So let me just read a little bit of it, and you'll get an idea of what the books are like. The town of Mizpah in the tribe of Benjamin sat on a prominent hill, which was why it received the name Mizpah, which meant watchtower. Today, the marketplace was abuzz with loud bargaining at the booths of vendors of food, clothing, tools, livestock, and more. Eldad, carrying a cloth bag, approached a merchant in a booth. "Are you from Gibeon?" Eldad asked. "Yes. Does it matter?" It did matter because Gibeon, though it was easily visible from Mizpah's lofty elevation, was not an Israelite city. There was bad blood going back centuries to when the residents of Gibeon misrepresented themselves to Joshua, dressing in worn clothing and covering themselves with the dust of the road, saying they were from a far country and wished to form an alliance. When the ruse was discovered, that they only wanted to avoid being attacked, Joshua kept the bargain, but Israel made the residents of Gibeon serve them as laborers. "It is good you are here," Eldad continued. "I want to expand my trade to Gibeon. My brother and I are smiths. May I show you my samples?" The merchant motioned his assent wordlessly, accustomed to this process after thousands of transactions. Eldad opened his bag and began laying bronze items on the table: a sickle, a bowl, a knife, a small bell, and a figurine of the fertility god Baal in the form of a bull. The merchant looked over the assortment and picked up the knife. Decent quality. We pride ourselves on our workmanship. Picking up the image, the merchant looked at Eldad and asked, "This is a Baal, no?" "It is." "So you, a Hebrew, make Canaanite gods? You do not make images of Yahweh?" "The Torah forbids images of Yahweh." "So you can't sell those," the merchant laughed, "but you can make Baals to sell to me?" "You sell Baals, do you not?" "Not in Mizpah, though maybe I could." The merchant set the image down again. "I will take your Baals. What would you trade?" "I need silver." "Don't we all?" sighed the merchant. "I can give you half a beka for 3 of these." "Half a beka for 3? That's 12 for a shekel. I must get a shekel for 8. "Your work is not that good. I can find someone else." The merchant waved his hand and turned his attention to arranging his wares. 10, then." 10 for a shekel? Eldad nodded. The merchant then pointed to the bell. "If I take 20 for 2 shekels, throw in 2 bells, and you have a deal. When can you deliver?" "Will you be here next week, 4th day?" "If it please the gods." I will deliver to you then. I require half up front." The merchant nodded, since this was expected for this type of order. He reached under the table and produced a leather pouch. From it he took 2 small silver bars and gave them to Eldad. "Thank you. See you then." "What is your name, Smith?" "Eldad, son of Elishama." "See you next 4th day, Eldad." So that's just from the 2nd chapter of Quest for a King, the first book in the Age of the Kingdom series. And Eldad is a fictional character, but some of his relatives will figure into the Bible story in a big way. The book starts out with the story of the Battle of Ebenezer, in which 40,000 Israelites died. So it's pretty brutal. And the readers who have read the book so far, a lot of the women find it difficult going because of the brutality of the time, but the men like it a lot. That's what I've been finding. And so my intention is in this series to write 5, maybe 6 novels. I haven't completely decided yet. The first 2, which are published and out, are devoted to the reign of King Saul. The next 2 will be the reign of King David. And the 5th one, or the 5th and 6th novels, will be for the reign of King Solomon. Early on, when I started this process, I put some information on social media, and I had a comment from one person. I called what I'm writing biblical historical fiction. And one person commented that everything in the Bible is fiction. And I didn't reply because there's no need to have arguments about things, which is what often happens on social media. But if I had replied, I would have told him that his information was about 50 years out of date, because a lot of archaeology has been done, and all of it confirms what the Bible says, and in some very important and interesting ways. And that's one of the things that we'll be talking about as we continue in this YouTube channel that I'm going to do. If you stayed to this point, thank you, and I hope you'll subscribe and enjoy all of the editions of this channel.